Presented to you by Talking the Line Sports Media, a sports gambling podcast by bettors for bettors, connecting you with the brightest, sharpest, and most electric personalities in all the sports gambling industry. So as always, pull up a chair, open up your mind, and get ready to receive knowledge you won't find anywhere else. We can't thank you enough for joining us, and we hope you enjoy. This is Wise Words. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and beautiful gambling people joining us for Season 3, Episode 4 of the Wise Words Podcast. I am your humbled, honored, hyped, and always handicapping host, Colt and Colt Soroka, and I can't thank you enough for choosing to stop by and get some of the best insights and knowledge on the market from some of the brightest, sharpest, and most electric personalities in all of the sports gambling in all of the sports gambling industry and beyond. Sorry, I'm human sometimes. I forget what I need to say, but that's all right. We got one heck of a show on tap here today, my friends. It's actually another V2, if you haven't read the title yet. Good friend of the TTL Sports Media family joining us from the Great White North. We'll talk about all that in just a minute, but be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, whatever platform you are currently watching the Talking the Line pod on or listening, if you do like listening to the audio version, so you never miss the drop of another episode again. But for now, my friends, it's time to bring in the man joining us for the 4th episode of Season 3, and he's officially making his second pit stop by Wise Words. The last time he stopped by, it was an absolute nuclear power plant, so I suggest you strap in for more of the same this time around. But before we get into that, my friends, this fella is one of the sharpest cappers on the market this time of the year, and if you don't want to take my word for it, believe a couple of cold hard facts. He is the current #1 WagerTalk NHL handicapper on 5% bankroll plays in the last 365 days. That's a year for those of you who aren't good at math. He's also the #1 WagerTalk NHL handicapper on overall plays with a plus 110% bankroll increase over this entire season. And he's the #1 WagerTalk profit earner across all sports in 2022. Again, joining us from the Great White North, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome in NHL, UFC, CFL, NFL, and MLB sports betting experts at WagerTalk, co-host of Puck Time, presented by WagerTalk, co-founder, on-air host, content creator at Mayflower Sports, your one-stop shop for all things sports media coming out of Halifax, Canada. And let me not forget, lover of Tim Hortons, drinker of 2-4s, wearer of tux, and the Canuck himself, Mr. Andrew McInnis. Welcome in, buddy. Unmute yourself. Hey,
you are a legend with the intros. I appreciate the words, man. It is great to be here. I'm happy to be here. It's great to meet you in Vegas. I wish we got to spend more time together, but plenty of time for that. We're both very young. No Tim Hortons today. I just got the homemade tea with me today, but it's great to be here, man.
Hey, it's great to have you back, Andrew. It's my duty to bring the hype, bring the noise, bring the volume, get you ready to rock and roll. I know you're getting a little bit over some of that Rona there, my man. So, hey, best to you. T's and P's coming your way. We hope you have a speedy recovery. We won't keep you too long, but we need some insights and knowledge from you today, my friend. So, before we get into all of that, give us an update, man. You mentioned Vegas. Have you fully recovered? What's going on? How's everything happening? What's going on at WagerTalk? What's new in the world of Andrew McInnis?
It's going great. Vegas was a lot of fun. It was great because it was an opportunity for me to meet viewers, but also just meet my coworkers. I know it sounds so weird, but everybody that that has quote for quote regular jobs, you get to see your coworkers every day, whether it's in a Zoom chat or whether it's in person at the office. I've been with the company, whether it's been WagerTalk or Sports Memo, for several years now, and there was only a handful of people I've actually met, including our CEO, Rick Alex. So it was so nice to meet people that I'm working alongside, working for, and that stuff. And it was great. You know, it was an interesting time to be out there. Obviously during March Madness, definitely a bucket list experience, but it was busy, man. It was busy. You know, it obviously a lot of fun, but one of those good to be home moments. But I don't know about you. I know that you're on the central time zone, if that's correct, but I'm in the far east, even more east of Toronto. So I wasn't used to the time zone for watching. Everybody was debating, do you like this time? Do you like that? I don't know, man. I'm a night owl. Like I'm not for games starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like for me, games start at 8 o'clock every day. I'll take that the way it is. But yeah, things are good, man. Puck time every day. We actually just launched a website, shoppucktime.com. We got hoodies, we got T-shirts, we got pucks, just like it's there. Awesome, love to see it. So things are going well, man.
I love to hear it, my brother. It was a pleasure. It was an honor to meet you face to face, my man. We definitely connected right off the bat. I know we talked pre-show. It's like we're boys and we've known each other all growing up all the way since we were in like middle school or something. So it was awesome to meet you, dude. Awesome to bounce some thoughts off of you and definitely get that young blood flowing in the sports gambling space, baby. So hey, let's dive right on into it. Talk a little bit of NHL. Now we got a little bit, right about a month left to play here, give or take. Are there any teams, or what teams rather, should we kind of be keeping an eye on from a betting perspective as we're winding things down?
Yeah, as we're winding down, you know, there's going to be this is just like the NBA a little bit, Colton, but it's hard to really compare anything to the NBA because NBA is just so ridiculous in knowing which players are going to show up. So one thing with the NHL around in April is kind of a pre-playoffs for many teams. Those teams that are on the outside looking in, you know, they're in that wild card hunt. So for a lot of people that don't realize that the format changed a couple years ago, and now it's the wild card scenario. So it's a couple top teams from each division. Then you got the wild card and the next couple teams in the wild card, which makes it interesting because, first of all, who you play in the playoffs is way different than what it used to be. Your first round matchup sometimes could be even harder than your second round matchup just based on divisional stuff. But you're also in this time of year going to see the people that are playing spoiler. I'm talking teams like, I'll say, you know, the Anaheim Ducks maybe at the end of this season a little bit more. The Ottawa Senators in the Eastern Conference, my Montreal Canadiens, as we saw them beat Tampa Bay on the weekend.
Les Habitants.
Like, I mean, give me something to celebrate at least, right? So there's going to be that type of stuff, but there's going to be teams that are going to stick it out and fight for their own positions, fight for their spots. Right now, the Vegas Golden Knights are a bet-on team. They were first place in the division for the entire season, and they've dealt with injuries at every position. And when I say every position, I mean left wing, right wing, forward, defense, goaltending. You know, I'm surprised their GM wasn't injured for a couple games. I mean, it's just one of those things for them. And they actually they slid out of a playoff spot at one point. They've had to now win, I believe, 3 straight games. And what's crazy, Colton, to me, is the way they're being priced now is that the odds makers have really, really reacted to their injuries big time. I mean, they're treating them like a whole different team. And I know they're without a couple key guys, but they're still a great team. And, you know, I look towards them as being a buy-on team. You know, I look towards teams like Tampa Bay as kind of a sell team for right now because, you know, as we've seen from them in the past, they're back-to-back Cup champions. The years that they won the Cup weren't the years they ended the season off on great notes. It's kind of like with March Madness. Get yourself into the dance. I mean, do you care if you're 1 or 2? Get to the dance and exactly see what you can do once you're there, you know? And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. But several teams impressing me. Currently holding future tickets on Carolina to win the Cup, 14-1. I've got the Pittsburgh Penguins to win the East, 8-1. That's one I'd want to circle right now for all your viewers. I'd tell them, I mean, Pittsburgh Penguins to win the East, you're still going to get pretty good odds on that. They're battling it out in that Metropolitan Division. And I just like that. I like teams that have vets, but also have a good mix of youth as well, Colton. Because I just find that some teams that are, like the Leafs, I love to make fun of them. This year, I feel like they're a lot more ready than years past. But they've had just if your best players are always just your youngest players, it might not be a recipe for success, But the Pittsburgh Penguins have always had the older players plus younger players, which make them a pretty great team.
I like that a lot, my man. I'd kind of been eyeing what am I gonna do future wise here. I know I want a little something something, and I'm glad you took it down that track because that was definitely gonna be something that I wanted to touch on. So I'm glad you mentioned a couple of teams there. Now, are there any other markets outside of the spreads, the totals, the puck line, stuff like that, that you've kind of been targeting? You've been finding some good value here as we wind down the season. I mean, last time you stopped, you talked about those team totals, especially like on a road trip or some underdog team totals. Helped me cash a lot of tickets, really revamp my NHL handicapping style. Thank you, good sir. You're the man, you're the myth, you're the legend for
They're
that
fun.
shit. But it also, yeah, it's a blast. So I don't know. Are you seeing anything, or what type of value you seeing in some of the different markets out there?
I mean, I guess I'd say one really that I didn't used to do too much was the first period puck line,
Ooh,
and sometimes it kind of, I mean, for obvious reasons, you're getting better odds because it's a smaller time frame. But I find that the math doesn't really make sense on the difference you're going to get from these minus 400s full game, and then these nice sometimes plus prices you're getting on the first period puck line. To me, if I'm betting a full game puck line, chances are I think the team is going to have a much better game. So chances are I also think they're going to do well in that first period. And tonight here talking on a Monday, you can get St. Louis versus Arizona. You can get a plus price on them in the first period to win the first period, or close to even money. When depending on where you shop, they're around the minus 400 ballpark. So I've been looking at that. Of course, you can also look at the other way, Colton, with the plus a half goal. That one's
ooh,
always fun because you literally just need it to
yeah.
be a tie at worst, and you win your wager. But yeah, that's one I've been looking at. Is looking at the first period puck line, even those first period both teams to score, which
Ooh.
might sound a little bit too much, but if you like totals and you're not getting a good for over 1.5, if you like first period betting, you're not getting a good number you like with that first period over 1.5. Let's say it's like minus 160 or whatever. You could take that both teams to score, and all of a sudden that's a plus price. So those are kind of like two tidbits I've looked at for trying to find better prices, because even sometimes the team totals isn't going to get you there,
Mm.
But I'll tell you one thing: I've used to be much of a team total over guy, and who doesn't love betting overs, right? But
Life's too
lately, I
short.
have gotten a little better with betting those team total unders, especially for the team that's. I talked last time I was on with you about betting dogs overs,
Hmm.
but sometimes if you find a team that you don't think is going to be very strong, again, it's always about finding those better numbers. You won't catch me laying a minus 400. If you can give me this team under 2.5 goals, minus 125, chances are if that team is the other team playing them is minus 400, probably a real reason why. But just a few things I'm looking for, because this time of year, you hate seeing people, especially the parlay players, man. The parlay players are getting burnt every night by that one minus 300 that's just sneaking up on them.
Yeah, my favorite as of late, I will find incredible value on an underdog. I'll see the line move in their favor. They'll open up what plus 140, drop down plus 120, plus 115 by puck drop. I'm thinking I'm in the skins. This is absolutely beautiful. I got nothing to worry about. Then we get to the third period and they're up 3-1. Somehow the opponent ties it up 3-3, and then we go to overtime and the opponent wins it 4-3. I'm like, why didn't I just take the plus 1.5? It's a
Yeah.
minus 150. I could have paid a couple of quarters and we've been just fine. So I'm learning, much like you, to okay, and maybe pay a little bit more to be a little bit
Yeah.
safer. So I like that. And then those that first period puck line, that plus a half, I like that a lot because I play first place. My mind went was the MLB and first fives. I play first fives plus a halves all the time, especially with like a bad team like the Mariners when you have like a Chris Flexen on the mound. Oh, give me all of that. I'm all about that. Can you tell I'm excited for Thursday? Yes,
I
sir.
can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait.
Maybe if we got a little time, we'll talk about that too. But
I'm gonna need someone to just hold all my accounts, not let me spray the board, don't let me get too crazy.
so true, dude. So true, dude. I don't know. It's almost like if you got a bankroll and yeah, I don't know, maybe even like 0.5% on just, hey, make a play on every single one, just have some fun. Like on opening day, I don't ever really recommend it, but I get heavily involved on opening days. Opening days, I just have some fun, even if it's a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle
Oh, you
there,
have
and
to.
and then I get locked in and start, hey, money
Yeah,
management, stick to your units, yada yada yada.
for
But
sure.
everything NHL for me, my man. Anything else pop to your head while we were kind of talking there? Any other rabbit holes you got before I move it on along?
Well, I just wanted to say one thing is just about I think more than a lot of people, Colton, I'm a big proponent of kind of what has your competition been lately?
Mm,
Like if teams have like if a team that's really good has steamrolled like four bad teams in a row, especially in hockey, and their next game is against like a really good team, I don't trust them
mm.
because their confidence is too high, And it might sound so simple, but it's the same thing of like tonight, talking on a Monday, we've got the Leafs and the Habs, or excuse me, the Leafs and the Lightning playing each other. The Lightning just lost in a shootout to the Habs. Some people might not think that the Lightning give two blanks, but I think they do.
Two
Nobody wants
shits,
to
you're
lose
fine.
to the Habs.
They don't give two shits, you're fine.
No, nobody. Well, I wasn't gonna say shits, but
Two
but
fucks, you're fine too.
yeah, but yeah, like no, like seriously, and like that's the thing. Like I think they do give two shits because I don't think
Sure.
anybody wants to lose to a bottom feeder team. So
Right.
like that's kind of why I wouldn't bet tonight's Leafs and Bolts game. Honestly, is because a lot of people like the Leafs because they think they're going to care more, but I think the Bolts are going to be like, fuck that. We just lost to the Habs and we're playing at home. Like, we're not going to lose again. That's kind of the way I see it.
That's kind of the way I was seeing it too, and I really wanted to get involved, but I decided to stay out of it. I was kind of leaning the Leafs, and hey, time of recording Monday. We'll see who would have been right on the end.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
man, when this drops on Wednesday, but yeah, man, that's why, because I just saw too many conflicting opinions like that of experts that I respect in the industry. So if I'm only consider myself like a 1-star hockey handicapper, how can I go against guys that are 5 stars? So. That's all I got to say about that. Mama said
Man,
life's
my
like a
new
box of
level of
chocolate.
handicapping is literally just eliminating games before I actually
Yeah.
find the ones I like.
Yep. You and me both, good friend.
Yeah.
I do that every single time. Just straight down the board and just start swiping them off. Nope, nope,
Yeah.
I'm not. Nope, there's too many questions in my head. Nope. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, hey, we can dive in here. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, we're on the same page for sure. All right, that does it for NHL. Now, McInnis, you're my UFC man. I don't get to absolutely just fanboy out with hardly anybody in this space when it comes to the UFC. So I have been looking forward to this reunion and having an absolutely electric card on tap. And wouldn't you
It's so
know,
awesome.
I planned it out for UFC 273, baby. It's not going to be the rematch, but we still have Volkanovski versus TKZ. Going to be absolutely electric. Holloway out, so no rematch there. And then we got Piotr Jan against Aljamain Sterling in the co-main. Now, just wanted to pop up here. If it gets a little glitchy, I will take it down. I was noticing before the show here, it was a little glitchy, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do, man, is just look at some of these fights here, see if they had any value, and see if we got anything for the people right off the jump. If anything comes to the mind, anything at all, we'll just run through the card and see where it goes. So, first things first, my friends. Let's add this to the screen here with us. All right, brother man. Now, I usually like to get started right from the jump, but I really can't tell you any value between Julio Arce and Daniel Santos. I don't know about you. I'm not going to try and give you some BS analysis behind that. I don't know if you got anything.
No, honestly, I only really have stuff on the main
I
for
bet,
this one,
for
but
sure.
uh,
There was a couple
I
people
don't.
here that I
Yeah,
liked.
definitely not on that first one for
For
me.
sure, me either.
Nothing there.
One that I really like here is Kay Hansen. I like her in this matchup between Pereira Rodriguez. She is a solid woman strawweight. I think she should have some solid value. Obviously, the odds aren't out yet. The time when we're looking at this on Monday for that fight, but I do think Kay Hansen is going to have some solid value. Any thoughts on that one from you?
I think I'm right there with you, but I didn't really have a play when I looked at it right away. Uh, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, this isn't a stereotype. I think this is just facts. For 90% of whatever it is, female fights, I take the fighter and I throw in to win via decision. I think most people should be doing that. There's countless female fights that I've won some that are submissions and all that different stuff, but the majority that you're going to win in that division is going to be with the judges' scorecard. So I would recommend if you're gonna play on her, I'd say it could be a good one to just say, hey, also bet the go the distance as well.
Sure enough, I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of, especially, well, she's retired now, but Roxanne Modafferi, she was a classic go to the cards every single time. She might not win it, but she's going to the doggone card. So I love that analysis. No real thoughts for me on the Hernandez and Freeman fight. The Vandera and Oleinik fight, nothing crazy there. And then the Pinchel and Madsen. So really nothing crazy out of the early prelims. We can take a look at the regular prelims. There are a few good fights on here, actually. Ian Gary, they're saying this guy is going to be the next Conor McGregor going up against Darian Weeks. Obviously, you can see that minus 365. The books are kind of honoring that. You got any thoughts on that one that's the feature prelim?
I was gonna say just the one that you just looked at back there. I was looking at my notes. I had one
Ooh.
on the Madison and Pitchell one. I literally
Ooh.
was looking at it. Well, Pitchell's 7-1 last 8 inside the octagon, but I think Madsen's kind of underrated, man. Like I literally think that might be the look here, and that might be a good underdog that I like. And just the method of victory, I think it's a smart fighter, and I think that the odds aren't what they should be. I mean, you look at the stats, and I guess in the UFC you can always find these inflated numbers and streaks. I'm not taking any credit away, but I just wanted to mention this was a dog early in the fight that I did like here with Madsen. Are you here with me?
I'm spot on. I am right there with you. No question about it. Vince Pichel, I think he's a little overvalued here. I honestly would put him in the underdog spot, to tell you the truth. Madsen's coming up. Madsen's trying to make a little bit of a name for himself, and I'm not saying Pichel's on the way out by any means, but I like where your head's at. I think he's a little bit overvalued in that spot for sure. And then also, yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but Vandera taking over for Ilir Latifi. This fight was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago with Oleinik, and Vandera steps in. So we'll see what the heck happens with that fight, too. That should be pretty interesting.
So Ian Gary, what do you think about his hype?
Dude,
like him?
I think it's the real deal. Holyfield, his last fight, I can't remember who he got in his last fight. I was obviously a no name, but man, I think the hype train's real. I mean, he seems doggone legit. He seems crisp. He seems good. Darian Weeks is going to be a big test, though.
What I liked about Ian Gary, I'll say, is that I know this sounds cliche, but like he's smart. He's precise. Like he's not somebody like pretty. To be honest with you, he's kind of like the opposite of what we saw from Paddy the Baddy. Like realistically, Paddy the Baddy is throwing hands left and right. He needs to get knocked around a few times to wake up. He's a performer. Look, Ian Gary liked to talk a little bit of smack at the end of his. He tried to shout out Conor McGregor and that kind of stuff. But Gary seems to be a lot more, I guess I could say, rounded than what McGregor and what some of these guys that are. I mean, I shouldn't even put him in the same conversation as McGregor right now. But that's what I liked about him. He didn't really seem like he was some guy that's going to be flashy, but his flashiness is getting the job done. Really.
Most definitely. I agree with you on that. I'm really excited to see how he looks. And I mean, I think he runs through Darian Weeks. Obviously, the books think the same. If it gets like up to the minus 450, minus 500, I get a little worried because that's kind of like a setup by the books, kind of telling you to like hop in on this favorite. Like, hey, come on, the water's fine. Add him to a parlay, and then he's going to lose outright. But if it stays right around here, even if it touches 400, I'm okay with that. I think there's really solid odds, and I think he handles it no problem. That next one up, let me just kind of scroll down and see if there's any other ones that bear mentioning. Mickey Gall obviously fighting Mike Malott. That should be a decent scrap, actually. Aspen Ladd and Raquel Pennington, that'll be kind of a classic scrap. We'll see if Aspen Ladd can come back and make some waves again in the bantamweight division. And then the one that obviously we got to talk about just a little bit here, because if we got some time, I want to just briefly touch on the heavyweight division with you, because I figure you could give some good thoughts. Rosenstruik against Tybura, my man. Rosenstruik is currently, let's see, number 7 Yeah, he's number 7 and Tybura is number 10. Or number 8. Number 8 and 10. I apologize. So couldn't see it on the screen. I wrote it down over here. But I think Tybura is the real deal, Holyfield, and I think this is the dog that I'm looking at in this situation. I know Biggie Boy needs a big rebound. I'm a big fan of Biggie Boy, no question about it, but I think Tybura is making some waves right now, and I would not be surprised to see him come away with a nice KO victory.
Well, I was just gonna say, man, I think this fight goes under 1.5 rounds, and I think
Mm,
we see a knockout early. I think both these fighters aren't gonna waste time, man. I
yeah,
really
yeah.
do, and I think that there's not really much conservativeness when it comes to either of these fighters. Tell you what, the Rosenstrike is fun to watch. Nobody can take that away. He's gonna throw hands. He looks angry when he's in the octagon, and I think talking about this matchup, this price is this price where it should be. I think I'm with you.
Mm,
I think I'm with you. But I don't want to bet against them.
right. I
Like
know.
I
I
don't know.
know.
I like the under 1.5 here. I'm a big totals guy in the UFC, man. That's
Okay.
that's where I've had a lot of my success, and
Sure.
I probably have lost some years off my life betting totals in the UFC. But
Yeah,
I think
man.
the under is the play here. I mean, could you see one of these guys surviving?
Point
I
blank.
couldn't see it.
I couldn't see it. No, I was gonna say point blank. Period. I see this going under the 1.5.
Yeah.
I really got to start dipping my toe into that a little bit more because there's a lot of value in that pop market if you can really find these fights like this. Now, I don't know if you're gonna have to pay 3/4 to get involved with it because
Yeah.
I think the books are gonna think the same. But I think it might be around maybe minus 170. If you can get it under minus 200, I think that would be a great opportunity to snap it up for sure. So if you're listening to this Wednesday drop. You got a couple of days before this card goes live. Lock that in under one
I
and a
remember
half. I like
my
that a lot.
last big under I had, Colton, was the Tai Tuivasa fight. I'm telling you, man. Like, and it was like the start of the second round, and like I had like a minute to spare or whatever, but
Mm.
like those under 1.5s though, like they can be tough because once they get through that first round, you're like, damn, like there's not much time left for this to hit, and you're just hoping that someone like you want them to just come out and throw hands.
Right.
But I don't know what's more stressful, waiting for a knockout or waiting for someone not to get knocked out. But total betting can be pretty profitable.
Definitely, man. Especially when they're the big boys too, and you know they're out of cardio, and it's like, really, how hard are they gonna push in the first 2.5 minutes in this round? Like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, yeah, dude, heart beating. I love it. I love it. All right, final 5 on tap, my friend. These are the big ones. These are the one everybody's talking about. Or actually, yeah, final 4. Sorry. Mackenzie Dern against Tisha Torres. I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Dern. If you look in my Twitter bio at Colt TTL Sports, you can see it down there. Hashtag DBAB means don't bet against Brazilians. It is something that I have coined and that you simply do not do on any UFC card. Point blank. Period. Mackenzie Dern is going to be one of those. That's going to be an official hashtag DBAB play for me at that minus 125.
I
She's
love
looking
that. I
yeah,
love
man.
that.
She's looking to solidify her position. So if you ever see that, you see me hashtag DBAB with the little Brazilian flag. That's what that means. Now you're in on it. All the TTL faithful are in on it. We're trying to make it stick for sure because I got a lot of Brazilian, not family. I consider them family members, but when I used to fight as well, I used to train with a lot of Brazilians, and a lot of them
Cool.
hold a special place in my heart. So I had to make a hashtag for them when I'm betting on them. So speaking of that, the very next fight, Gilbert Burns is a Brazilian. Now, I am allowed one fade a card. That is the stipulation. There's no way I'm fading Kamzat in this spot. No way in hell. It is Smesh week. You know the deal. You know what's going down. I can't wait. I just don't find any interest in paying 5 bills to get involved on the money line, and it's probably going to be right around minus 120, minus 140, I would say, for him to win via KO, TKO, or somewhere along that line. But then he could win via submission. So let me get off the mic. What are you thinking for Burns and Chimaev?
Man. He's outstrike opponents 112-1
Insane.
in
Insane.
I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done.
One significant strike he's absorbed over his
Yeah,
entire UFC career.
I know.
Insane.
It's crazy. Like I this is one, to be honest with you, I'm looking to enjoy as a fan and sit back, but
Mm.
I can't see this getting anywhere even close to championship rounds.
Ooh.
And this is one of those things where, again, you look at the method of victory markets, you look at Hamzat to win inside the distance, Hamzat to win via TKO. I mean, he's not going to win by points, so nobody should be laying minus 490. And that's just the old school bettors, that aren't aware of all this stuff. You were in Vegas, you saw it, man. There's more stuff in the East right now than there are in Vegas. Vegas is falling behind when it comes down to that stuff. All the old time bettors are still going to bet Hamzat this weekend minus 490. When I can tell you he's not going to win, but he's not going to let the judges do it. He's going to do his thing, But the Aljamain Sterling fight to me is interesting. I think Peter Yan is going to win by points. I think he's going to his durability is unbelievable. His ability to protect himself is great, and his striking just improves every single time he gets in the octagon. What's funny though is that the last time these two teams, I keep saying that these two guys fought. Guess who I had as a big pick in this one? 5% on Aljamain Sterling.
Aljo. God, watch it be the opposite side this time.
Oh my God. Dude, it was awesome. I literally was like, I'm just like, not going to lie, guys. This isn't the way I thought I'd win, but we just won a pick off a disqualification.
Hey, there you go.
But I'm not going to fall for the same mistake twice because that was the luckiest win I'll have in my life. But I think Peter Yan by the point. This is going to be one of those fights where I don't think he's going to knock him out. I think Aljamain's only way he can win is by a sneaky submission. But when I look at how durable Peter Yan is, he's not going to put himself in any bad situations for that to happen. But I don't see Peter like knocking him out. I don't see any of it. Like his strikes are really strong, but they're going to wear him down. And I think that, to be honest, I don't always buy into this stuff when it comes to fighting Colton, but in this one I do. This is kind of personal, man.
Ooh,
it was obviously, and Aljamain, have you seen the stuff he's saying in the media? It's hilarious, the stuff he's saying. But
stirring the pot.
I don't even think that belt should be around his back right now. But I made money on it, so it's hard for me to feel bad about it. But
I love it, man. No, two things. You look at the last fight, and even just going back over the course of Aljo's career, people are forgetting how much of a badass he is. Yeah, he did get the DQ, the 3 points of contact, knee to the teeth. Hey, I cashed the ticket on it too. It's all right. Don't worry about it. There ain't no shame in the game. That's a ticket that got to the cage, Mr. McInnis. I don't think we got to be ashamed of that whatsoever, even if he did DQ. Now, am I a fan of the antics and the flaunting and the bullshit he's got going on right now in the media? Hell no. And I think he's about to get smacked in the mouth because of it by old Piotr. And that's what people are forgetting. I think people are thinking this is going to be a straight stand and bang, wanger, banger, 5,000. And I don't know. If you go back and watch that, because I'm a big fan of going back and watching tape. I love watching tape. It's something that has really, really, really improved my UFC bet. Because, you have an ESPN Plus account. You can go back and watch every single main card that there ever has been. So it's really simple to watch tape compared to, like, trying to watch an NFL team or an MLB team, whatever the case. It's so easy to do. And, man, going back and watching that fight, Piotr's wrestling and his throws were actually very, very, very quality. And if it gets a little testy for him at all on the feet, which I don't think it will, I think he's going to piece him up for 5 rounds and keep him on the outside. I think he puts him on the mat again, and he just controls him. And you're right. The only way Aljo could win is if he does find a limb of Yan getting slipped, getting caught somewhere. But I really think Piotr is going to just be smart on the ground and not put himself in that situation. So,
and I don't think he really cares about knocking him out. No. Really don't. You can punish him for 5 rounds.
I think he wants to punish him. I truly think that's kind of his game plan coming into this one for sure. And then last but not least, dude, the big one. The big man, minus 760. Volk, baby. I'm a huge fan of TKZ as well. I've been watching TKZ since 2010, 2011. I've been the biggest fan of the UFC forever. We saw Volk almost lose the belt against Ortega, one of the tightest mounted guillotines I have ever seen in all my life to somebody did not tap. Volk was squirming like a fish. His legs were flipping, flopping. He said he was making noises he had never heard himself make before. I can't believe he still got the strap. If he made it through that, I think he can make it through TKZ. TKZ was just kind of that next man up, right? He's kind of scuffled in his last few fights, and he was that next man up. But overall, Andrew, what do you think about this one, my man?
Yeah, I think that I think that he's durable enough to kind of stick around. I don't think Volk's gonna kind of finish him early. We've seen what the Korean Zombie can do, but when I look at it, I just don't think through this many rounds he's going to be able to he's not durable enough to withstand the pressure. I don't think he'll be able to give it back to him either. you talk about he's the next man up, but I mean, we saw what Ortega did to him, and do you think he's going to do that to Volk? No. I mean, his head was turning like colors that I've never even heard of before. I mean, he literally like looked like his head was going to pop off, you know. So
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Like, I think that this one could see the championship rounds, but I worry about Korean Zombie if he can last that long.
Definitely.
If I'm playing this, I'm looking at the over. You know, I told you I'm a totals guy. I think that Volk will play it smart. I think we see the Korean Zombie kind of last, but I don't think it's going to be enough to win him the fight just to kind of hang on. And you kind of hate to say that when I'm handicapping these fights and I look at film just like you do, but I also just love the sport.
Oh, yeah.
And I think back to not just the previous fight for a fighter, but for the past several. And in this one, I think it's one guy, obviously the champion, that wants to come in and fight smart. And it's another guy that I think fighting smart for the Korean Zombie honestly kind of hurts him. And I know that sounds ridiculous, so give me a second to explain that. I feel like he's a little bit conservative sometimes. And when you're in a fight, if you're not hitting, you're getting hit. And I feel like with him, he takes too much damage. He can take it, but by the time he takes all that damage, it's a little bit too late for him to come back in the fight, you know? So I think the over is the way to go here. I'm not touching any side in this one just because all the prices. No matter what you do with the fight, I think it's just so chalky. But I think we could see the fight go over.
I like where your head's at with that, man. I just don't think TKZ is any type of shape to be able to do anything to Volk. And you just look back over the course of his last few fights. You're right. I mean, he has built a name based off of his nickname, the Korean Zombie. Like, that's what he does. He takes fucking shots and just keeps walking you down. And hey, maybe he might catch you with one of them spinning elbows to the chin and he puts out and he gets another highlight. I mean, that could always happen, but it's now that I say it, it's been in spots where he's like a plus 500 underdog, so who knows what the hell's going to happen, man. Now that just came to my mind, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pick a side. I like how you close that there. I think anything you look at here is going to be way too chalky to get involved. And, I mean, if you're doing anything, you're getting involved with the dog, but I just can't firmly tell you that that's the right thing to do. So I would say enjoy this as a fan. Keep your bankroll out of it, but also that over definitely
I like the way you
has
said that.
some
Keep your bankroll out of it. I'm going to steal that from you. I
Hey,
like
that's
that
fine.
one.
Hey, I write that every time on my UFC blog, man. I'm like, hey, against my own good, I'm gonna keep my bankroll out of this one. Enjoy this as a pure fight fan.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet. All right, I'm gonna keep it out of it. And I'm just gonna enjoy it. And then that side cashes that you would have been on, and you're like, stupid. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ever backtrack. It's okay. Don't ever backtrack. It's all right. No action lost is better than some action lost, okay? Just there's my piece of advice.
That's what's great about UFC. Like, you can do this in the NBA and NHL, but specifically with the UFC, if you're right about something and you didn't put money on it, use that for the next time they fight, you know?
Sure enough.
Especially method of victory.
Yeah, I know. And if you can really start getting some method of victory, like really start getting the eyes on that, I mean, shit, they start at what, plus 175, plus 200. I mean, if you can find some of those and you got two fighters that are like pretty classically, they go to the decisions a lot, but you see like this one fighter, they rip out a submission just every once in a while when they're going up against a striker. They're fighting a striker. Oh my gosh, to win by submission is plus 200. You hammer that in and they get a sub, a Kimura in the first round. And everybody's like, how did that happen? It was supposed to go to the cards. So just little things like that I look into that I really like for sure. But, well, there you go. UFC, one final little bit of UFC, then we'll go on and get you up on out of here, man. Give you some time to reset, relax. I appreciate you taking your off time on Monday here to stop by and give your insights. So, next fight after, and this is just purely off of you. I'm going to give you the top 10, and this is just kind of like where your head's at, what you're thinking, because I really, truly believe the heavyweight division, outside of the lightweight, but we'll wait for Connor to come back to talk about that, see what the hell's going on. The heavyweight division just has so many question marks, and it's so intriguing right now. So, my biggest question for you right now, heavyweight division, top 10, Ngannou, Gane, Miocic, Tuivasa, Blades, Lewis, Aspinall, Volkov, Rosenstruik, Daukaus, and Tybura. That is the top 10 right now in the UFC's heavyweight division. Do you believe that the next best fight to make would be somewhere with the Tuivasa name, somewhere with the Aspinall name, or do you think it's going to be back to because I think they announced Miocic and Alexander Rakic. They announced that for upcoming in May, I believe it is. Either way, they did announce that, so that's the fight. Outside of that, what fight are you making? Are you targeting like Tuivasa Aspinall, a little something like that, or what are you
That's what I
thinking in
was
the
gonna
heavyweight?
say. I think Tuivasa Aspinall's got to be the one because,
Hmm.
especially from what we saw from Aspinall his last fight, that happened actually when we were in Vegas that
Ooh,
weekend.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had to watch the highlights. I don't even think I actually watched that one live. We were getting busy having some drinks, but yeah, I think that's the fight to make, and I think that I think it's going to be again. I mean, it sounds repetitive, but it's going to be two guys throwing hands. Every time Tuivasa fights, though, I worry that he's putting himself in danger. But that's pretty much what every heavyweight does.
Hmm.
The fact of the matter is, when the more he climbs his way up the ladder, you got to wonder. I mean, when's this guy going to get caught? But
Right.
so far he hasn't. So far he's been able to battle. This division's one of the most exciting ones. I really like Stipe. I'm curious what his next fight's going to be. I mean, I'm curious how it's going to go. I mean, but uh, the thing is with Francis. I mean, what do you think's next for him? What do you think goes on with that guy? Because nobody
Yeah.
can beat him. It seems like.
Right. That's the thing too. My biggest question mark heavyweight right now is what the hell do you do with Curtis Blades after he just absolutely filleted Chris Daukaus? Do you give him the rematch with Lewis? Do you make Blades Lewis 2 and then you give the winner of that one is number one contender and then takes on Ngannou? Or do you let this Tuivasa and Aspinall play out? Because I firmly believe Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the UFC right now. Like he is pound for pound the best heavyweight on the world. I just don't think anybody knows about it yet. Like Tom Aspinall is a bad dude, and
You think he can beat Francis?
I think he could. I really
Yeah.
think he could. I think he could. It would come down to a lot of precision, but I don't know when we're going to see Francis again, especially after
Hmm.
that, the surgery, all that stuff. He's going to be out for some time. So I think you make the Blades Lewis 2. I think you let them scrap. You take the winner of that fight and you let them fight Tuivasa and Aspinall, and then you have a number one contender fight between the winner of those two fights. And I think
Yeah.
that would be a sick, sick opponent for Ngannou right now.
Well, I think the winner of Aspinall and Tuivasa is going to tell us a lot
Yeah, oh yeah.
about both those fighters,
Oh yeah.
obviously. And then Curtis Blades, what he does over his next one or two will tell us a lot about like his future. I mean, he's coming off. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that I don't think it's really a bad thing though that Francis is gonna. I mean, hope he's okay and all that stuff, but I don't think it's a bad thing. He's gonna need some
Mm.
time because we got to figure all kinds of stuff out before
Yeah.
he even gets back in the cards a little bit.
Right.
But what about Cyril Gahn? Like
That was going to
what's
be my last point.
what's the
So
future hold for him? Because he's proven so much over the past several years, but we really don't know kind of.
here
I mean,
was the
I think
issue.
it's the same thing we just said about Francis. I mean, we have to see everything else fold or come out first
Hmm.
and then bring him involved because he deserves to fight one of these guys too. Because realistically, if you're a matchmaker, don't you want to see what some of these guys like Tai Tuivasa can do against Cyril too?
100%. But the problem is that they put him on the pedestal way too fast. And now he's not going to want to go down and fight those guys because their whole idea was because the UFC doesn't like Francis. Like, let's not hold any bones about it. We know the history. We know everything that they've done to him in the past. And it was like pulling damn hair to try, or teeth, whatever you want to say, arms off his body trying to get this new contract. And basically, they put Cyril in that position to expand into the French market and gave
Yes.
him that fight. Basically, stripped Derek Lewis and gave him that fight in order to, or essentially didn't strip Derek Lewis, essentially stripped Ngannou of like the official title and gave him an interim title, gave Gane an interim title, and basically Gon was supposed to win that fight. Gon was supposed to run through Ngannou, change into the guards, bang, UFC France. Now
Hmm.
we hit this whole other market. Here we are. The Predator said, not so
Yeah.
fast, my friend, not so fast. And then what the hell do we
And
do
he's
now?
off into the sunset now.
Exactly. So now he sits back drinking Mai Tais on some beach, letting that ACL heal. And now we got to let all this shake out in the heavyweight division. So I thought you could give some good context, good thought on that, my man. I'm glad we had that talk because, dude, it is wild in the heavyweight division right now.
a lot of people want to prove themselves, and it's going to be an interesting next couple months here. So I'm in love with the UFC because I just think there's so much variety is the word I'll
Yeah.
use. You know what I mean? And that you don't get that with any other sport. That's just what I love about it the most.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And whether that's, and I mean, even from this perspective, a bantamweight fight or a heavyweight fight or a women's strawweight fight, all three of those fights are going to play out entirely different,
Yes.
and it may be even entirely different based on the styles of the fighters. So yeah, man, I was a fighter in my past life. I have had some amateur fights. I used to train, and I mean, I've watched UFC for crying out loud. When you used to be able to get one pay-per-view every 8 months, and then you were just watering up for the next one to come around. I mean, and now you watch every doggone weekend. We got a fight night. I mean, how far UFC has come, I absolutely love it. I'm the biggest fan as you are, man. So maybe we might have to do a little collab. If I'm rocking 5% plays murdering them, if you're rocking 5% plays murdering them,
Definitely.
we do a CA bomb 10% burner, something like that. Like, oh, I'm just putting things out here in the world, just manifesting. I don't know. All right, my man. 45 minutes. We always say, hey, we're going to do 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden we start to talking and we get down. Like, that's why we talk about we're boys. I appreciate the hell
For
out of you,
sure.
man. It's like we've known each other forever. But even though you're younger than me, man, I really look up to you in the space and some of the highbrow thought that you're able to give and some of the perspective that you're able to give and how you carry yourself as a young man. So I definitely want to
Appreciate it.
give you your dues in that, man. And I don't know, kind of give you the floor, just real quick, close everything out. You can definitely tell us where we can follow you, where we can check all your content, but maybe also just your thoughts, anybody chasing a dream, chasing a passion, or somebody getting into sports gambling, or just something maybe you heard over the weekend. It's like, you know what, maybe that's some good advice I need to tell some people. The floor is all yours, good sir.
Oh, first of all, I just appreciate the nice words from you. I love what you're doing. I think you're doing it the right way. You're very professional, but also we have a lot of fun, which is really the perfect mix you want to have. And I don't know. I guess my favorite quote these days, which is not some fancy one, it's just no one's going to believe in you like you believe in yourself. And it's what I always tell myself. It's what I tell other people to think. And like, I think that in this society we live in, I'm 24 years old. When I told people I was getting into this business, all my friends had engineering degrees, science degrees, whatever, looking at me like I had 10 heads, you know, now talking sports with you, here we are, you know what I mean? We're having a blast. And like, I just feel like there's so many people, especially in this generation, that just care what people think too much. And I think the best thing for people to do is just kind of do their thing because, the more you do your own thing and you kind of work in silence, you'll appreciate yourself more too. But that's really all I'm going to say. I mean, right now, as far as the sports betting goes, look around. This is the best time in the world to be a sports bettor, to be a sports media member. I think just doing it the right way, like you're doing for anybody out there that's in the space, keep grinding. Don't send out any 50-unit locks with a million money bags next to your tweet, and you'll be just fine. So it's great to be here with you, and I'm always down to do a podcast like this
Uh,
because it's you're doing it the right way, and it's very, very professional.
I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, brother. And you'd be shocked to know that you sound just like me, almost. Why I laugh there? Almost the identical, same exact things I said on my show today.
No way.
I mean, almost identical, exact same things. Everything you said right there. Just not worrying about what the crowd thinks, what everybody wants, and what everybody's saying. But also, this is again, this is the best time to be in sports gambling and just get involved and have a good time, man, and really just connect with people. Like that's what this space is all about. Like that's what the what I'm trying to bring to this space is just that community. Like there's just so much of like me versus you and like, oh, I'm a better capper than Andrew. You should check me out over him. Like he's a
Yeah.
piece of shit. Like I know, fuck that. Like he cashes tickets, I cash tickets. Maybe we oppose, but that doesn't mean I hate the guy. Like I think he's still a badass capper. I think he destroys the game. I think he knows a lot more than me. And I think if people humbled themselves in certain perspectives, like we could move this space so far forward so much faster and just just not having that fear to chase your dreams and your passions, man. It definitely is it is a scary leap, but if you have the courage to, I don't know, look over the canyon's edge, spread the wings, see if you can fly, 99% of the time those old wings will grow some feathers on them. You figure it out. It might be about 3 inches from the ground when you're about to splat, but eventually it'll work out, my man. So Hey, I appreciate that. Great thought. Great way to close it for sure. One final little bit. You obviously can follow him there at McInnis Picks, MKINNIS Picks on Twitter. My friend, where else can we follow you? Get all your content, everything in between.
Yeah, of course. Puck Time. It's my baby. Carmine and I, we do that show together every Monday to Friday. It's growing big time, but we got the playoffs coming up. We got series previews, of course, divisional previews for futures for the next year after the playoffs are done, and all that good stuff. And then, of course, baseball. I do a lot of props with baseball. As you can tell, I do love the prop market. I try not to get too heavily involved, and too high volume. But I love the K props. Love the total basis props, all that good stuff. So check me out there. Of course, Wager Talk and our Mayflower Sports YouTube channel. We got all kinds of stuff coming. We have a new sit down series we're launching in the summer, which I can't wait. We finally landed a really good place to film and record. We don't have a studio or anything, so we had to find some place to record, and the future's hopefully pretty bright. So when I get you out to the East Coast sometime, we'll definitely have to do one, or we'll get you on a StreamYard podcast.
Absolutely, man. It'd be my honor. I'd love to hop on with the Mayflower boys. I've been keeping tabs with you ever since we had you on the first time for sure. And shout out Jake. Shout out all your boys over there that we met in Vegas too. Appreciate you guys. It was great to meet you guys as well. So there you go. There you have it. The legendary Andrew Money Making McInnis. How about that action?
He's live in prime
time. Hey, I'm telling you, baby. Hey, I gave Hakeem Money Making Machine the Dream Profit. So that's it. You're just Money Making McInnis. That's all you got. Definitely get your trademark on that before I give somebody else another nickname. But
I'm sure he was laughing at that too. Sure
he loved it. He loved it. So shout out to Hakeem too if you're tuning into this one, my man. Shout out to all the Wager Talk family as well. We appreciate you letting us steal you guys from time to time over here at TTL. So, Mr. McInnis, thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to stop by, hang out again, kick back, give some insights, give some knowledge. It is definitely more than I can ask, more than I can thank you for. You are the man. Appreciate the hell out of you. All of you on the other side of the camera, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Make sure you follow my man over there so you can start cashing NHL and UFC tickets left, right, and center alongside with my place too. It's just a whole bunch of cash going every which way. So make sure you follow him too. Check out his show, Puck Time, on Wager Talk. My man was nice enough to hook me up a sick, straight out of the Great White North, made in Canada. You can't see it, but it says it right on there. It is straight from the Great White North. You want to talk about pristine quality? Oh yeah, it's this right here, my friend. So check that show out as well. Him and his co-host Carmine Bianco have been helping me cash plenty of tickets as well. But for now, my friends, from me, your host, the humbled, honored, hyped, and always handicapping Colton Captain Colt Soroka, my guest of the day, Andrew Money Making McInnis. We can't thank you enough for choosing to stop by, hang out with us, and get some insights and analysis and dive into a few rabbit holes. We hope you have a spectacular rest of your Wednesday, unless you have any other plans. And as per usual, my friends, let's cash some tickets.